Welcome, guys, to another episode of Burning Discussion. I am your host, Extermicide, and I am here with my partners, my pals in crime, Ghandex and Roar, for another episode. Actually, this is our 7th episode already, believe it or not. Alright, so this is becoming a habit. So the first thing I want to start off with is a simple apology. So we were supposed to stream live last week. I'm a firm believer of real life takes precedence before everything else, and my house had some plumbing issues. We had a pipe break, so it was just one of those days. It was being a Sunday, trying to get a plumber, blah blah blah. Couldn't get a plumber on Sunday. I was all stressed out. We didn't have a show. That's on me. But we're back today, so should be a decent show. Ghandex, my buddy, my friend, I haven't talked to you all week. How you doing?
It's been a minute. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I just went through all my BS. I'm having a having a good week.
You went through
but
your
okay.
excuses. You didn't go through how you're doing.
Yeah, I usually save my stuff until last and everything, but nah. But you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. Good.
Yeah, he just wants to keep it short tonight. Okay,
I
Roar.
do keep it short.
Before you really are you going to start to fall asleep already?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Haven't even
I
asked
just
the boring.
woke up. I woke up 2 hours ago. I caught the live stream with Pathfinders earlier, and I got some cool information from Mr. Steven Sharif. So, just excited, man.
I have to look it up. I don't know who it was, but someone left me a comment on Twitter about the show as saying that I should make Roar do a roar at the beginning of every show.
Do like the lion? Is it
Right.
MGM? Yeah.
So I'm like,
The roar is there for. It's from my old days when I used to rage out quite a bit.
Oh, you were that bad. You were that person.
I was that guy. League of Legends and shooters like Call of Duty just bring out the best of me, man.
I'm not gonna fault you for League of Legends. I'm terrible at MOBAs too, and I've broken a few keyboards over MOBAs.
You're as old as I am, Roar. Did you ever own a Commodore 64 back in the day, or an Amiga?
No, man, I'm not that old. I'm only 35.
Okay, so you don't remember the Atari 2600s or anything?
I remember
like
the
that
Ataris. My sister had one. She's a bit older than me, and she would never let me touch it. So, and then the first system I actually ever got my hands on was the NES.
You remember the joysticks for the Atari 2600? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I used to go through one of those a week. Every freaking week I had to buy a new freaking joystick. All right, guys. Let me pull it up here. I was having some technical issues earlier here on my end. I think I can get by it. I kind of have everything swapped around on different monitors, so if I look like I'm lost, it's because I am. But we'll get by this. Also, as far as my week went, I actually had a good week. I released a nice little video about Steven Sharif. As of today, it hit 1,000 views in 5 days. So
nice.
I was actually very proud of that.
Dude, I look at it every single day, hoping that we see a reply.
I know. Steven Sharif replied to he saw the video himself. He gave it a little thumbs up and some little emojis and stuff. I think he said good vid. But we extended the offer out to him to come on the show. And if you're too busy, you can't make it on the show, send us Jeff. But we haven't got a response back. So maybe we're just not that big yet, or maybe some of you guys who actually watch us need to go and freaking make some noise over there at Intrepid, and say, hey, you need to freaking do this Burning Discussion show, because of all these shows, man, these guys got the shit down, So help us out, man. You guys can always help us out, man. You can help us, by commenting on our videos and liking them, and that's all the easy stuff. You can help us more by freaking reposting some of the stuff or getting the word out there about what we're all about. Oh, you're watching that one podcast? You should check out these other guys too, Different tastes for different folks, So, all right. So tonight's show is actually, Ghandex, you got here a little late. Did you get the link that I sent you in the...
I didn't I see the link here in Discord now. I didn't actually get
Okay.
a chance to view it. But
Okay. I don't know if you're streaming live or not. If you are, this is something you probably want to just go ahead and have rotate in the background. Otherwise, it's nothing I'm going to be referring to all that much, if at all. Okay, guys. So week before last, we started our discussion about PvP. We started off with the open world PvP, and as we mentioned, there's several different kinds of PvP in this game. And the next one I wanted to touch base on is caravan PvP. But I figured, well, if we're going to touch base on the PvP section of the caravans, we might as well just talk about caravans as a whole. So we're just going to just dive right into that. Caravans are used to transfer goods from one city to another. We all know this, okay? Their importance, however, cannot be overstated. They are the backbone of the economy system, and they are an intricate part of the PvP that revolves around opportunity and risk. So I'm going to let you guys know now, trying to think of just pinpoint questions to ask you revolving the caravan system was kind of difficult, which is why I also sent a thing asking you guys to maybe come up with one or two questions yourself. Basically, I have all the notes written about the whole caravan system. So what we're going to do is just kind of run through the notes, but I'm hoping we can kind of touch base a little bit on everything and just explain it a little bit more. And if one of us has a question, if something comes up that brings up a question, throw it in there, because I'm telling you, tonight I am lacking the freaking questions. I was sitting there banging my head against the damn desk trying to think of freaking questions, and it just wasn't working.
I have a lot I can say about caravans, so
I have quite a few.
If you run short, then we can get into that.
All right. Well, okay. So, beginning in my notes, I have once a node reaches village stage, caravans can be summoned. Caravans allow you to transfer resources to castles and nodes to turn a profit. There are three different types of caravans. Without going into detail about all three, can someone just name all three? Does someone know the name of all three?
No, I only knew of the land ones and the ocean one, or water caravans.
Okay.
But
okay.
Wait, are those the types that you mean?
No. That's actually
that's all I've ever dug into.
The land and the naval ones are actually the same. They're considered one type of caravan. So let's start off with the first one. The very first type of caravan is a mayoral caravan. Okay, these are launched by mayors of nodes and are used to establish trade routes with other nodes, allowing you to keep your node supplied with hard to get resources while giving resources to the other nodes in exchange. This all begins when two node governments enter into a trade agreement. Both nodes will benefit from this by improving the economy, granting XP to everyone involved, and it helps contribute to a node's overall growth. The mayor can also try to garner additional resources for his or her node by initiating a caravan quest. In order for the city to grow, it will need the resources to do so, and by initiating caravan quests, a mayor can start a task that will involve players coming to and working together. These caravan quests are still part of the mayoral caravan group, so we're not going to confuse them with quest-driven caravans, which is our next group. So that pretty much sums it up for mayoral caravans. They are something where the mayor is going to basically ally with someone else and say, hey, you want to start a trade route between us? And they'll, I guess, between the two mayors, they will decide a time and when to freaking launch a caravan. And thoughts?
I like the idea. So I was trying to think while you were doing your little spiel there of a better way to phrase, because I think maybe Roar's on the same page with me when you said the types of caravans. I was thinking more of like a tier system, or like what they actually do, not where they're originated from. So that's where I got a little confused on that part. But
in my defense, I am going pretty much from the wiki.
and that's fine.
this
And
is
I don't
how
know if
and that's how they
a better
classify
way.
them as
And I don't know
types.
of a better way to say type. But again, yeah,
I've
no.
yeah,
Go ahead, Rory.
I'm with Ghandex on that. Like I've known about the questing ones and the PvP side, like player transport ones, but I've never heard of that mayoral.
I have heard of the mayoral ones. I've also, and I don't have a confirmation on this, and it might be me just fabricating things in my mind, is that the monarchs of castles might be able to also generate caravans within maybe their own kingdom or possibly to trade with other kingdoms. But
That would probably be the mayor of that node doing a individual quest
well,
caravan.
the castle,
is what you would think.
the castle is different.
I haven't heard anything about that at all.
I haven't either, or at least don't have any confirmation of it. Maybe I read it on a Reddit post somewhere, or maybe I fabricated it in my own head. I don't know, but
from what I can tell, there is a video of Steven and Jeff. It's strictly about the mayoral caravans. I'm having a hard time saying mayoral. They do have an older video of them discussing just this particular type of caravan system, the reasoning why they decided to include it in the game. And strictly, it just boils down to the whole thing of two nodes becoming allies and saying, hey, let's start a trade route between one another. So that aspect of it is pretty cool. And I'm guessing if the mayor, let's say Ghandex is the mayor of of our node, and he decides he wants to build an armory, and we're running really short on some supplies, he can actually institute a caravan quest to our brother node, our friends, our new friends, and have them send us some more wood. And yeah, as far as that goes, as a political type system and everything, it's pretty cool. It's pretty deep, actually.
I like it. I think there's a lot of possibilities that could be with it. And I don't know if the caravans are only going to be point A to point B, or if you're going to be able to chain them. Like this caravan is going to go here, drop off some supplies, pick up some more supplies, then it's going to go here, drop off some supplies, pick up some more supplies, then go here to its final destination. So it might be, you might be able to do like a chain link type caravan, which would be kind of interesting.
Depends on how many friends they're going to allow us to freaking have, but it's also going to put you more at a freaking risk of actually getting mugged.
I agree, but the reward would be substantially higher.
Yep. Okay, so the second type of caravans is a quest-driven caravan. Okay, and you've heard of these ones. Now, they are used for trade routes between nodes once an agreement has been established. So these are kind of from the mayoral thing. These are the quests. They're like the quests that were that the mayor summons. But these ones here, once you have that system, these ones are, from what I understand, they're actual quests. Okay, they're quest-driven caravans used between the two trade routes. Once nodes have an agreement and an agreement has been established, these caravans are system-driven, meaning that an NPC will be in the driver's seat and not an actual player. These are quest-driven caravans. They're initiated by
I think these are going to be like your standard like NPC escort quests.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between a regular escort quest is that these will have a diverse choice of paths and routes, and a launch window times, making them difficult to predict, and very difficult for people to camp spawn points for the sole purpose of ganking and zerging caravans. So a quest-driven caravan, once instigated by the mayor and everything, he'll actually be able to select the time, and he'll actually be able to select the route as to which caravan can exit out of our east exit or our west, take that different road. One might be longer, one might be shorter, one might be less traveled. So it makes it hard for people to say, "Hey, let's freaking camp over here and wait for their caravan to come," and that's their sole purpose. Makes it a little bit harder to predict, which route will be taken. Yeah, jump right
That's
in.
kind of so.
With
Go ahead.
that though, so and maybe Roar has the same thought. If it's harder to predict when the time is going to be that it takes place and where the route is, it also might be harder to get people to join that caravan and defend it.
Well,
Right. So like,
go ahead.
In most games, the players initiate these escorts. They prepare and they go out and they initiate these. Like, are these quest driven escorts just something that pop up periodically, randomly, and we have no idea when it's going to happen?
Some can actually be given from quest givers. So it could be a quest in that kind of route and everything, but it also can be something that a mayor can initiate. But apparently when you get one of these quests, whoever gets one of these quests, or if it's the mayor doing it and everything, he's going to get that option to select, okay, which route are we taking? And you got launch time windows. So he actually gets to select when to launch. So it's not like we're not going to have time to get everybody together and say, hey, we're going to have a freaking caravan at this particular time. When, we chose this particular time as our launch window. We're going to be leaving out the west entrance. Everybody, gather up, get here to town, as quick as you can, because we don't know we don't know if the launch window is going to be up to an hour. It could be like in the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, but it gives us a time to put something into guild chat, saying, hey, guys, get over here. We're going to get ready to escort this freaking caravan. So yeah, it would be in your best interest to call on your in-game buddies to help escort the caravan for the best chance at succeeding.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that's quest-driven caravans. The final type is personal caravans. Okay, and I have a 3A and a 3B here. 3A. Personal caravans are self-directed, player-driven caravans and are initiated by the player, who essentially becomes the caravan. These are land-based, covered wagons, and/or water-based naval caravans that the player drives and directs. These are currently designed for a single driver. Personal caravans can be launched from any point of storage. Personal caravans are capable of transitioning to and from naval caravans. Personal caravans will come in varying sizes and capacities. By default, player caravans will have a racial appearance that influences the type of animals that are moving the caravan. Players will be able to apply caravan skins to change the default appearance of the caravan and the mount pulling it. That's 3A. So basically from what we've seen from all the videos, it's our basic player-driven covered wagons.
Yep.
So this is going to be when Ghandex, the blacksmith, needs to transport a lot of freaking ore from here to there. He's going to call all his buddies and say, hey, dudes, I got this freaking ore I need to transport. I need some freaking help. And he's going to back his little horse into the freaking wagon, and he's going to drive the damn caravan while we're all on foot like freaking maggots running on the side of the thing.
You get a mount pretty early on, sir. You can ride.
Can't fight on our mounts, though. Remember that. Because that's the thing.
Trample things.
You're going to
Well, I mean, that being said, all footage we've seen of these caravans, they're not very quick. So
that's true. Caravans normally aren't going to be quick, so
maybe. Dun, dun, dun. 3B is naval caravans. Naval caravans are trade ships Part of Ash's creation naval content and allow for the transportation of trade goods. Of course, we have not seen a whole lot about the whole naval part of Ashes yet. These caravans are just pretty much like the ones that we just described, but on water. So caravans are capable of transitioning from land to water. These caravans will come in varying sizes and capacities. Naval caravans are capable. Actually, I had that freaking written twice, and fuck that. At this time, there will be a construction site with a timer applied to it before it can fully transition into a naval caravan. So when a land-based caravan gets at seaport, before it transports into a naval caravan, there's going to be a time limit as it transitions and turns itself into that. Something to be aware of. Anything else? By default, naval caravans have a racial appearance. Okay. Players will be able to apply caravan skins to change this appearance. This is interesting. Certain ships in the game can be hijacked. Naval caravans, however, cannot be hijacked. The cargo on a trade ship will be similar to caravans in that a ship must be destroyed in order to capture the loot from its wreckage.
Which falls in line with the land caravans. So
a PvP pirate group out there thinking they're going to pull up against this freaking caravan, jump on board, and freaking kill everybody on board, and then just steer the freaking caravan off. That's not how it works. You don't capture caravans. It's either you leave them alone or you destroy them.
no, but I can see them destroying it, taking what loot they can,
Yes,
and then going about their merry way.
most definitely. Okay, if we don't get something interesting here for Roar to freaking actually talk, he's gonna rub that mustache right off his face.
I can't stop touching it. For 2 years now. 2 years it's been on my face. I can't stop touching it.
I think it's just a thing you just need to, smooth it.
All right, so the next thing I have is caravan inventory. Personal inventory limits are tied to a backpack. Material and gathering items are subject to quantity rather than weight limits. This is good to hear. Quantity instead of weight. I played a couple games that did weight, and that I didn't like that. Caravans and mules are intended to be the primary mode of transportation of goods beyond these limits. Mules can carry roughly 10 times more than backpacks. Caravans can carry roughly 10 times more than mules. Caravans will have carrying capacity limits and customizable stats such as defensive points, speed, and number of hired NPC guards. In addition to expanded inventory capacity, caravans also provide support benefits helping to and relating to successfully completing trade routes and other quests. Inventory capacity will be relatively limited for new characters. Inventory expansion and weight management training certificates are available in the Galleria at the city stage of economic nodes. A player's inventory has sections for different types of items. And I included this because we're still on that whole topic about the how inventory works with the caravans, but a player's inventory section has sections for different types of items. Quest items, for example, will not fill the player's regular inventory capacity. Thank you, God. And item stacks will, in general, have quantity limits based on the type of item.
So the quest items that don't fill your regular inventory, I'm a little conflicted by.
I think they're
On
doing
one hand,
what ESO did.
On one hand, I like the idea because it saves you from the headache of having to, I need this quest item, so I got only dump other crap out of my bag, so I have room for this quest item. But at the same time, it takes a little bit of the hardcoreness out of the game because you're you don't have to make that sacrifice, and you can have possibly, unless there's a limit on how many quest items you can have, possibly a million different quest items if you, for some reason, just started doing a million different quests. And you just get I got one of this and one of this and one of this.
I can see that easily happening with this game, considering they don't want to, and please correct me if this has changed, but from what I understand, they don't really want to have the normal explanation point over the heads of quest givers. So they really want you to go up and discuss and talk to every freaking person in every camp trying to find the quests. That alone, I can see there easily being quest items that are gathering up your inventory, and if they're eating up my inventory, that's gonna suck.
As long as they don't use the EverQuest questing system, I'm completely happy.
Now, see, Elder Scrolls did a tab system where you had a tab for your quest items, you had a tab for actually your gatherables, but that was kind of a pay for membership. Those yeah, if you paid for the membership, then you got that. Otherwise, the people who bought the game and weren't paying the additional money for membership didn't get that, which was kind of shitty, if you ask me.
I mean, I don't. It doesn't really affect me any way or the other if I'm going to be able to fit my quest items in their own little specific tab or in my inventory. It really depends on bag space, which remains to be seen. But
I also don't want to have
Ghandex a little bit.
Right, and I also don't want to have a clusterfuck of bag everything mixed in one bag tab.
Right, like
I'm okay with that. But
games that have like an auto sort feature, I really like. Sorting out junk items versus stuff that I need, like gear and crafting items, stuff like that. But like Ghandex said, like if I have 25 bag spots and 22 of them are quest items, yeah, it's hardcore and it's, it makes you make decisions, but at the same time, that can be really frustrating. All the valuable stuff that you're possibly leaving behind because you chose to pick up so many quests. You know what I mean?
Which I agree with, but at the same time, you shouldn't ever have, 90% of your bag slots filled with quest items, and that's where I don't know if there's going to be a quest limit that you can have, like X number of like active quests. And if for some reason all of those, let's say you have a 20 quest limit that you can have, and all 20 quests require you to pick up items, that's going to suck. Because you're gonna have to just
right. I mean, it was just an example. Like it's probably not gonna ever happen, but
exactly. But if that's how they're going to divide the bags up is by tabs, and I'm all good for that. Especially after what I've been seeing from videos too. If our mounts are based on skins, they're opening up inventory. They're opening up their packs each time they want to show a different mount. And they got a different skin for each and every freaking mount. I don't want my inventory filled with all these skins. Put those on its own little tab over here.
Well,
Let me be able to access it.
For them to show us the variety of mounts that they have available versus you'd go to I assume some kind of NPC building for your mount, and you'd skin it the way you want it, and that's the way it stays until you change it.
So I have somebody in my chat just said, a friend of mine just said, if quest items have their own pouch, their own section that is separate from your actual inventory, then there's no mechanical reason for that item to even exist. Why even pick anything up if it's not going to affect your inventory?
Unless you have a limit on how many quest items you can pick up, like that quest item specific tab has a max limit to it, then that's fine. But if it's an unlimited storage, then I agree. There's what's the point?
Right. I mean,
but the whole purpose of that.
I can't think of a single reason I've ever in any game in my last 20 years of playing these types of games when I've run out of inventory space for those specific types of items. Like I agree. Ran dungeons all day long and I've filled up my inventory, and I've gathered all day long and I've filled up my inventory. But when I'm out actually focusing on questing and doing that sort of thing, I've never even come close.
Yeah, well,
it depends on the type of quest, though. That's what I was saying. If you have, all 20 quests are go gather X item, and
just
they're all
never
different.
say never, because remember, this game is going to be a total different breed too.
It should be different, yeah.
If all 20 quests are go out, pick this item, and bring it back to me, then Ashes of Creation needs to rethink their questing model. I think.
I agree. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm just, trying to think extreme.
I hope they're a little more
I'm sure
creative than
they'll,
that with all the
but
stuff
I'm
they
sure
do.
they would change it up in stories. Hey, this troll over here in that cave has been messing with us. If you go and kill him and bring us back his golden tooth, we'll give you a reward. And then there's probably a different story revolving, something else where you have to get it and bring it back. I can see a lot of that. Those quests. To be honest with you, I would prefer to have a quest like that than our typical MMO quest. And I'm gonna scream if I see this in Ashes of starting off the freaking game. Go kill 10 rats or go kill 10 wolves. If I see a wolves or rats quest in that first freaking half hour playing the game, I'm gonna freaking scream.
Well, you
What
better
if it's
be
go kill
prepared, man.
rats in the basement?
They-
I'm down for the rats in the basement quest.
That's like
That's a-
your
that's a
typical
staple.
MMO RPG.
And I would think Steve would be a
template.
little bit more original than that. It's like, let's not do the whole thing. Unless you're going to make it somehow purposely done to be a joke.
Yeah, like the what is it? In Oblivion, it's not a starter quest, but in one of the towns, the lady is screaming about her rats, and you go
Yeah.
down there, and you gotta kill this lion because the lion's eating her rats.
There's a lot of stuff they could do, but I mean, getting rid of your typical go kill quests, it's not going to happen. It's absolutely going to have those.
But it doesn't always have to be rats or wolves.
Right. Well, you know
It
what I
isn't.
mean. But like,
It isn't.
Oh my
always
god,
right.
I mean,
almost
but
every
in
game, the first thing you kill is a wolf.
No, it's
but
not.
like in
It's
these
boars.
fantasy settings,
In
those
WoW,
are the
it's
things that are
boars.
like, right? Yeah, there's boars.
Well, it's
but-
orcs anyway. It's boars.
I mean, in these typical fantasy settings, like those are usually what is, the biggest mischief
Go
makers
kill
in
this
these little
pest,
towns.
yeah.
It's gonna happen, man. Just prepare now. Put that in the back of your mind and just let it percolate a little bit.
Skip all questing and just do straight PvP.
Have they said anything, and this is going off topic here a little bit, but we might as well go off topic a little bit tonight. Have they said anything about tapping, adding a little bit of funniness into the game, adding a little bit of pop culture into it? One of the things I remember the most about WoW is the very first time I went to Ironforge. And I go to Ironforge, and I went to the bank, and there's 3 bank tellers, and I read their freaking names. And to this day, I can remember their names because they were Olivia, Newton, John. And I thought that was freaking funny as shit, man. And I remember that to this freaking day. Do you think, do we know anything? Have we heard that? Any kind of confirmation? I would love to have them put some freaking comedy into the game here and there.
I
haven't
have heard
heard
nothing,
any-
and I still think
I
it's
haven't
a
heard
bit
any
too early.
confirmation, but some of the things that Steven has said that is on video, I can definitely see there being jokes being made, little Easter eggs here and there. And it's nothing like those bank teller names. It's gonna be literally nothing, but it will be funny to some people. So I can definitely see something being thrown in here and there.
Correct me if I'm wrong too, but Robin Williams' daughter was like a big freaking player, and they actually made, after he passed away, they made a character that looks just like Robin Williams, who's now an NPC quest giver in the game somewhere.
He's one of the genies, one of the gens from the Cataclysm expansion, and you remember all the big wizard dudes, the big
Oh.
genie dudes, and the
Yeah.
desert.
Oh, that's so
Uldum?
cool.
They
Yeah,
made
okay.
him one of the big blue genie guys from Aladdin.
Did not know that.
Yeah, it's
Not
pretty.
that I
It's
played-
pretty
I didn't
sweet.
play-
There is a lot of pop culture.
They have
freaking
they've
hidden
got a
in
lot of
Blizzard.
really good tributes. Like they added an NPC, that big streamer who committed suicide, that big WoW streamer guy a couple months ago. They added an NPC of him in there. And Robin Williams actually played a little bit of WoW. There's
Well, I
a
know-
lot of tributes.
Didn't they
in WoW.
give Leroy Jenkins his own character in the game eventually too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
He's a
know
companion.
in original WoW there was that shrine in the Barrens for one of the developers who died during the making of it. But
Yeah,
I'm sure
they
there's more.
do a good job.
And I'm sure
Every now and
Abby's
then
will
WoW
do-
gets something right.
do things as well. So
Yeah, well, like I said, when I made that freaking video there about Steven, at the very beginning, I talked about WoW briefly, and I said, you love it or hate it. They set a kind of a bar for other MMOs, and there's a lot of things. Even if you don't like World of Warcraft, if you don't like Blizzard as a company, there's a lot of things that they do right. You know, I have to freaking tip my hat to them, and I give credit where credit is due.
I agree.
All right, moving on. Let's see. Caravan initiation. Players can initiate caravans via an NPC with the following parameters. 1, the resources it will carry. 2, if it is initiated for a specific quest in a nearby node. 3, if the goods are intended for trade or warehousing in a regional market. And 4, the recipient of the caravan, maybe being a temple with the nearby node. When you initiate a caravan, you'll be able to determine the resources of the caravan that the caravan is going to have on it. You're going to be able to determine whether or not this caravan has been initiated for a specific quest in a nearby node. And you're going to be able to deliver goods for trade or to just the warehouse in a new region so that you have access to the local market. Anything to say about this?
I don't.
Straightforward.
I mean, I think the caravan system is really cool. Like, they give you a reason to interact with the world. They give you a reason to want to transport your stuff from point A to point B if you need to. I also hate the caravan system because obviously your inventory is limited. That's fine. It's not weight limited, which I kind of wish it was.
It sort of is. So certain things are going to have stack limits. Well, everything will have a stack.
By a weight
Certain
limit,
things
I
will
mean
be-
you're not going to become encumbered and slow down.
Yes.
Backpacks are 10 times what you can carry. So, and a mule is 10 times for more than a backpack,
Mhm.
and caravan 10 times more than a
Correct,
mule.
yeah.
But like there is stack limits, and there is item limits, but there's no weight limit. Like, you're not going to get
There's no
encumbered.
encumbrance. Yes.
Right.
No, okay,
So
which
and
I'm glad.
that's what I mean. But to me, this goes down to I said this in I think the first podcast I was in with you guys when they want there to be a choice in how you do things, and that's fine. And we really don't know. We don't. We have no testing. We've not. The only information we have is what they've told us and the limited stuff that we've seen. But I don't like the idea that if I want to move my entire inventory from point A to point B, the only way to do it is by creating a caravan and telling the whole world that I'm moving my stuff across the world. They are forcing me into that play style. And like they've told you, this is going to be the only way to move large quantities of good. What do you mean the only way? Like, how much ore can I carry? How much plants can I carry? Why is it not acceptable for me to just get on my mountain, ride from point A to point B, and drop my stuff off at another warehouse in another town? Like,
It makes several trips.
yeah, and it's like the only way I can even move my stuff from what they've said is this is the best way to do it. The only way to do it is tell the whole world I'm moving all my stuff. Come and attack me or don't come and attack me. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I have to actually say I agree with you on that. And I'll take this one step further. We were already talking about the other types of caravans, and they were saying that you can purchase these skins. You can reskin your caravan if you want. And I'm thinking to myself, why would anyone want to ever reskin their caravan? I would want it to look as raggedy and cheap and as poor as freaking possible. Just a log on wheels, nothing to see here. No need to
But
rob me.
Some people don't want to do it. Some people want to show off their bling.
Which is to me a major freaking invitation to come rob me.
But it might be a huge distraction too.
Well, that's just
You
it.
might just want to show off your awesome new skin. I don't know. And there's literally nothing on the caravan.
If we can take away anything from the caravan skin system, is that I'm playing your video that you put together here, and there's about 1,000 skins, and like we can already see that those are just going to be cosmetic items that we can purchase and pre-order. And and that's the thing. Like, people want their stuff to look cool, whether they have anything in game and not. And I would imagine that there's going to be some troll groups out there that are going to start up a caravan with one piece of ore in it just to get some PvP action in. You know?
Ooh, we were talking about bounty hunters,
Right?
Last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I can see them doing that as to troll out PvPers if they're bored. They don't have enough bounties to go hunt. They can get some stuff that way. That's actually a really good point, Roar.
Well, that's where it comes down to the risk reward thing, and that's the stuff that like you never know what you're actually going to get into. You might see a caravan with 2 guys. Like I driving it, and one little escort dude with 5 or 10 or however many NPCs, and a group of 5 players are going to say we can take these guys. But they could have one piece of ore setting up a trap for these guys, and they could have 30 of their buddies in Discord that are, a mile down the road. Okay, we're getting attacked. Come on. And then you could just come up and mow these guys down. But, that's neither here or there to my original idea, or, my original argument is that these caravan systems seem very prevalent in this world. And I really, we already have the risk of getting ganked in the open world, losing stuff. Right? We already have the risk of our freeholds getting broken into when our cities get sacked. And the cities themselves, they can take half of our stuff that's in the bank. They can take half of our stuff that's in our houses. Now they can also take half of our stuff on these caravan systems, because that's the only way to efficiently move product. And that's where I come down to. I just want more information. And I know I might be
Fuck
jumping
this
the gun
game.
on
I don't
a
like
little
this
bit,
game anymore. Fuck it.
I know I might be jumping the gun on that a little bit, because we have no information. But it's when they tell me this is the most efficient way to do this, that makes me think okay, so if I can't carry a large amount of quantity on my horse from point A to point B, what is that going to look like for craft or for gathering too? Am I going to be able to mine 2 nodes and then my bag's full, I got to come back to town? Because that's going to make farming really shitty too.
Farming will be an issue. We'll have to figure that out when we know more, obviously. My question to you
that's
is,
all going to come down to the alpha.
You brought up moving all your stuff. When do you think that you would ever need to move your entire liveward?
What if you're just not happy in your city anymore? You want to change?
When your node the castle or the area that you live in, you got an apartment there or whatever, you were one of the first people. When that gets taken over by someone else and everything, they said they're going to mail you your blueprints so you can take residence somewhere else.
You are able to give up your citizenship and you're able to move.
Yes. So with that blueprint, it's possible, because you have storage inside your residence, it's possible that blueprint will then be able to effectively transport your stuff that's in your residence. I don't know. I'm just saying. And I agree. Moving all your stuff is going to be a pain in the ass.
Well, don't take what I'm saying literally when I say move all my stuff. I'm talking, what if I have 16 stacks of iron ore that's selling for a gold here, but it's selling for 10 gold way the hell over there. When I say move all my stuff, I'm not talking literally everything I own, just, a large capacity of what I want to try to sell elsewhere.
Don't mistake your housing items to your banking items either. That certificate is your housing items. That's not going to be taken from you. Everything you've earned to upgrade your house, you're going to be able to move that safely to another place when you're forced to move.
But there will be storage inside your residence.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean when I say.
And you might and like everything else. And like everything else, you'll probably lose half of that if the city gets taken over.
Yeah, no, you absolutely you lose. So that's the way the system works. It's whatever you have stored.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I understand, it's not. Can you take gear if you sack a city? If I have 10 swords, are you able to take 5 of the swords? Or you don't take 5. You would get.
As far as I'm aware, if it follows the same rules as a PvP, you cannot take items. You can take consumables and gatherables, I believe.
Right.
Are the 2 types you can take. So you can't take weapons and
raw materials
and other gear. Yeah.
So
and we don't know how the banking system is going to work either. if it's going to be a banking system like WoW, where you dump stuff into a bank and you can access it from anywhere, I highly doubt
and
it's going to work that way.
that's why the caravan system exists, because your bank, your storage is independent from your node, from your house, from the other node or metropolis. Everything is independent, and that's why they say you need to move your stuff.
So, another thing, you brought up, you got iron ore that sells for gold here, but it sells for 10 gold elsewhere. There will be people that specifically do caravans. There will be brokers. You can sell your stuff to those people in town. It won't be 10 gold, but you sell it to them for, I don't know, 8, we'll say. So you're still making more of a profit than you would if you sold it at the auction house here locally. But you get to save yourself of the headache moving it all the way up north. That, and you cut out practically all the risk.
Right.
So.
And that's one way to doing it. But
you both play
like
WoW,
I said,
right?
Yes.
Okay, so I know I did this in a while, so you guys must have done this at some point. Your bank is full, your inventory is full. You unload your stuff by mailing it to your alts. Doesn't mean your alt even checks the damn mail. You let the stuff sit in your freaking mailbox for at least a good 30 days before you decide to start emptying it before it expires.
Well, no, see, what you do in WoW is you mail it to your alt, and then it sits there for 30 days, and then it gets auto-mailed back into your account and sits there for another 30 days. You got 60 days before that shit disappears.
Yeah.
Which by that time, hopefully your bank and inventory is correct.
You should be able to sort it out within 60 days.
Right. So I don't know. This is just one thing. Like I'm fine with the caravan system as a a questing thing, but like forcing me to, if I want to take large quantities of items from one point to another point, which I know it's a system in the game, but forcing anybody to do that and risk losing all their stuff. I mean, let's say this, and it's going to happen. I'm not going to say that. Imagine this, but no, it's going to happen. Throw half your stuff in a caravan, send it down the road. Caravan gets sacked. You lose half. The very next day, your fucking node gets sacked. You lose even that. To me is just like the nail in the coffin for me ever gathering another material. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. It's like living in Louisiana. You get a flood, and then you fix your house up. You get another freaking flood. You're going to move the fuck out of Louisiana. You don't want to live there anymore.
You say that, but people still live there, and they've lived there for centuries. So,
and and I do know that once a siege has been initiated, all emptying of storage is now closed off. So
paddling back to what I was talking about a second ago with the mail, have we heard, is there a mail system in this game? There is.
Yeah.
I assume, but I also assume that there's going to be limitations on what you can send. I assume there'll be a time limit on how long it stays in the mail.
Yeah, it's going to be your typical setting, but obviously if I wonder about if you don't because you can't just go to any mailbox in any city. You're going to have to pick. I think it's a village node or higher. You have to select to mail things to. And the other thing is, if I wonder about that, because what if your siege that you mailed stuff to and you don't get there in time to check it, or you mail it and log off for a couple hours, whatever. But what if that city node gets ransacked in the meantime? You lose all your mail that you lost as well. You know what I mean?
That'd be another cool job to add to the freaking game, to be the guy who goes and collects the mail and does the Pony Express route to the next freaking town.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. Your mail may or may not make it to the next town if the guy gets freaking mugged, killed, and freaking robbed.
Dude, what if they had a job where you had the mail system? I don't know if you guys can hear my girlfriend screaming. She's playing Call of Duty or something. No. What if there's a job where if you wanted to mail something in the traditional sense, it would take 2 days. Or you could hire a player who was tasked to get it from point A to point B, but he had a little mail icon as he's riding through the map, kind of like the bounty hunter system. And it's his job to get the mail there safely, and you could do it quicker, or you could choose the safer, 2-day route. I think that'd be kind of neat.
I think that is actually... There's a pretty good possibility of that actually happening, I think, just based on player interaction. it also depends on how the actual mail system works too. So
Yeah. But going back to the caravans, I like the idea of caravans. I like the idea of escort quests. I like the idea of defending escort quests and getting rewarded for it. I'm not a fan of whenever I want to move large quantities of stuff, I have to hire this and tell the whole world I'm moving large quantities of stuff. I don't care for that.
I feel like I'm being forced into PvP. Now I understand there's going to be a lot of PvP in this game, but I don't like the idea of being forced into anything. It's like I'm not being forced to be a blacksmith. I'm not being forced to go and gather these particular herbs. And some people like that shit and they do it because they like it.
Right.
Some people avoid PvP because they just don't like it. They want to be a crafter instead. They want to be a gatherer instead. And forcing someone to have to be participating in the PvP, if it was done to some lesser extent, I probably wouldn't mind it so much. But just to say that you can't create this item here, you have to move all your resources over to here because that's where you're going to have to craft the freaking item. I don't like that system.
It also creates. Go ahead, Ghandex.
This is coming from a guy who is going to want to do PvP, saying that he doesn't want to do PvP. Talking about UX.
Yes, I know.
2, the caravans are for large quantities. You can still move things. You should still be able to move enough stuff to make items.
Right, and that's why I said I don't know, I don't know what we're going to be able to carry.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that you're still going to be able to carry enough on your person to be able to make a few items in crafting. You won't be able to, just sit there for a whole day's worth of work, but you'll be able to actually make something out of what you can carry in your backpack.
See, they're making it sound like for me to create a good set of crafted armor, let's say. Okay, and if I'm not an armor smith, I need to first hire an armor smith. B, I need to come up with the resources. I need to get those resources transferred to the place where he can make that stuff, because apparently he can't just do it anywhere, especially if it's like a named item, like maybe it's a certain green based freaking armor. It may only be craftable over up here in this one location. So you have to transfer all your goods up there and everything, and of course you risk getting mugged and losing half the damn crap and everything. That's the aspect of it that I don't like. I like my PvP. If I'm going out and I know that the rules are I'm on one side, kill that side, red is dead. I like that kind of shit. I don't like taking a loss. And I think this is where Steve is stepping in and saying, there's got to be risk for reward, to reward someone every single time just because, hey, they were a player in the game, is what the MMO genre has turned into. And he wanted to make it so okay, we're going to make it a little bit harder to do all this kind of stuff. They almost make it sound like, in order to freaking transfer, to make just a simple sword is going to take a whole caravan to transfer all the freaking goods. How much goods do you need to make one freaking sword? But you're going to need a whole caravan to freaking go and transfer those freaking goods up there, is what the way they make it sound.
And you're exactly right. And it depends on the sword. It depends on the materials required. And there's going to be a lot of hands touching these things. The more difficult it is the craft, the more hands that are going to be involved in this process. So, but it goes back to, we had the question about factions a few weeks ago, and we discussed factions. And I kind of said that, and Ghandex disagreed with me. I don't know if you remember this conversation, Ghandex, where I said that Steven didn't want to play World of Warcraft because he doesn't like the game telling him who his enemies are. And I said, well, Steven's kind of telling us who our enemies are by having no factions at all. When you hire a caravan, and I'm going to give you a prime example. When you hire a caravan, everybody other than your close friends or guild just became your potential enemy. And I know that when you approach a caravan that's in progress, you get a little prompt that says, do you want to join the caravan? Do you want to oppose the caravan? Or do you want to do nothing? If I choose to defend that caravan, am I locked in that decision until the caravan's done? Do you guys know for sure?
I would assume there would be some
I think you are.
radius you'd have to maintain within the caravan in order to maintain that decision, but I don't know. And if you leave it, it might just go to you ignore the caravan and you don't get, it doesn't re-prompt you. Possibly.
See,
I don't know.
and
What
I
I
guess
would
that
be
would
more
create,
concerned about is if I decide to defend that caravan, it's a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of guys I don't even know. Okay. But you know what? I get the prompt. You know what? I'm going to be a nice guy. I'm not going to rob these guys. I'm going to help defend that caravan. So if the caravan gets there to safety and everything, do I get rewarded at all for helping
do.
defend?
Yeah, you will.
there's going to be notoriety. There's going to be a whole progression system based on that style of PvP that you will progress in and get rewarded upon. But the reason I brought that up is like, have you guys played Sea of Thieves, and have you played it recently?
I've never played it. I've watched a lot of videos of Summit 1 playing it.
So Sea of Thieves has a system that came up about halfway through its lifetime. It had an ally system where you could choose to ally with other ships. You could raise a little ally flag, and then if you wanted to, form an alliance with this boat, you could also raise your alliance flag. Boom, you guys are an alliance. Any treasure you earn when you turned it in would be split down the middle between each ship. I cannot count on all my fingers and toes how many times me and my buddies joined an alliance, use these guys to help us farm a bunch of gear, and right before we turn it in, we drop the alliance, sink them, and take all that treasure. And that brings me to the caravan system. Are you able to, pretend to be this guy's friend until he thinks he's safe, and then drop that and turn on him and take all his stuff?
So that's why I kind of think, and hopefully they're intelligent about this when they make it. I assume there's got to be some radius in which you have to maintain within to continue defending that caravan. Once you leave that radius, it'll drop, and I'm hoping it will become where you ignore it and you can't re-enter that radius, and then it prompts you again to make a decision. Hopefully there's some kind of cooldown on what that is, but I don't know. Hopefully, because that is kind of shady, and if that's a thing, I can see a lot of people abusing that system.
Oh, it's gonna if it is, but that's where it comes down to like balance, And I would imagine that there would be like a risk reward thing in that as well. Like you said, if I choose to defend this caravan, but then I stay out of its proximity for X amount of time, then my status to that caravan drops. If I walk back into that proximity, do I just not get a prompt anymore? Do I just stay as a neutral bystander, or is it going to allow me to pick again? These are all things that, obviously remain to be seen, but it's really interesting stuff to think about it.
Well, once we go into the alpha, we're going to find out the answers real quick.
So
real quick.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of stuff that we're waiting on to see in the alpha, and judging from the live stream I saw today, I'm wondering if how much is actually going to be there. Like, we know that we're supposed to see more of the archetypes and stuff, and they asked Steven today during that live stream with Schmerg, I can't even say his name. They asked him a bard question, and about instruments specifically. They said, "Are instruments going to be something that they can use in battle, like as a weapon, or are they going to be something that they're just going to have on their person?" And he straight up said, "We haven't even begun working on bard yet." I'm like, oof. So we know from live streams and stuff that we're going to see more of this stuff when the alpha gets here, but I don't think they're going to be ready in the beginning of Alpha 1 for sure.
I think Alpha 1's only going to have like 4 available classes, correct? That's all
we have now. We have the 4 available now, and the remaining 4, they've said on multiple occasions that we would see them during Alpha 1. And Alpha 1's going to be a long time. It's going to be probably a year or more in Alpha 1. So
yeah, I assume so. But just because Steven said that they haven't even begun working on it, I highly doubt that that's true. They have to have, at bare minimum, concepts about abilities and stuff. They might not have them fleshed out like other archetypes, but I highly doubt they have. They've just like, oh, we haven't touched that yet. I highly doubt it's blank.
This is all kind of off topic though, so let's kind of save this towards the very end when we do have fill in a little bit of time here. I just have a couple more items to touch base on. Next being caravan destruction. If a caravan is destroyed, it becomes a wreckage, an actual interfaceable item that the player can come up to, and they can receive certificates for a portion of the goods inside the caravan. Those certificates must be taken back to the caravan's point of origin to be claimed. Actual pieces of the caravan, known as caravan components, may also drop when a caravan is destroyed. These components may be salvageable by a caravan owner or by other players in the case of high-grade components. Caravans drop certificates for heavy goods that are redeemable at the origin node for a portion of the goods. Certificates to create a caravan are issued by certain NPCs within nodes or at certain points of interest in the world. So what I'm gathering from this is not only if we want to instigate, we want to freaking have a caravan, transport our freaking goods, we have to build that freaking caravan before we can even launch it.
Well, that comes down to the crafting system. They have a like the naval builders who can build the naval ones. The woodworkers can also build caravans.
And this is the part that blows my mind. These certificates are these certificates are comprised of multiple components: axles, armor rating for damage mitigation, capacity, chassis, hit points, maneuverability, number of higher NPC guards, speed, steed, wheels. That's 10 different freaking components right there to create a caravan.
I'm sure there's more.
You can be super fast and agile, or you can be super heavy and slow and armored.
So
caravan components obtained from crafters will have stats according to the skill of each artisan. Mount spread through the animal husbandry profession can be applied to certificates towards the construction of caravans. So again, this goes back to what kind of caravan do you want to make? One that's freaking kind of weak armor-wise, but fast as fuck, or vice versa.
Yeah, so I mean that goes down to, and those certificates you're talking about that players can loot, those are also lootable when you kill a player. You can take crafted material or gathered raw materials and certificates. So you could bust your ass to take down a caravan, loot all his certificates, and then get ganked on your way back to town and lose all those certificates that you just worked your butt off to take. Yeah, it never ends.
And every time I read something like this, this is the stuff that hurts my brains, and this makes me say, this MMO, even for us who are veteran MMO players, there's going to be a learning curve here to learn what all this shit does.
Oh,
there's a very
a ton.
complex, interlocked web of everything.
But that makes me think too, because, and I've thought about this before. Your caravan can be destroyed, and you will have to gather crafting materials to create another caravan. Now, mounts created through the animal husbandry system, can they die? And if they die, do you have to buy a new mount?
Because even in combat they can die, but then they have a delay on when you can recall them.
So they do okay.
Yes.
So you don't lose your mount like you would lose your caravan.
No.
Possibly. We don't know if different rules apply to the caravans with mounts or not.
Okay, so I'm basing the information I have on castle sieges. And what they're saying is that mounts can be killed, and once they are killed, you can res them after a certain amount of time. Yeah. I'm assuming if that's the way they're doing it in that PvP, it would pretty much be the same in all battleground type PvP throughout the real world.
Possibly. Well, like you said, I wonder if mounts would be in a different capacity for like a mount that's pulling your caravan versus a mount that you ride. Like mounts that are only usable in caravans might have a life, and when they're dead, they're gone, and you have to obtain a new one, which would feed animal husbandry constant customers.
Actually, that brings a very good point. Because you're going to need to get rid of all your shitty mounts that you make anyway. Because it's going to happen. You're going to have some lame ones in the breeding.
You cook them and eat them.
You could do Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Sorry,
My,
Buffy, you were a good mount, but time to go. Daddy's hungry.
someone in my chat says animal husbandry, is that legal? And I was like, yeah, you can breed
As
mounts
long
and
as you
create 'em.
get
He's
married
like,
first. As
well,
long as
that's
you're
what he
married.
said. I said, yeah, you can breed them and create mounts. It's going to be a profession. He goes, oh, I thought it meant something else.
No, that's bestiality, sir. That's a different topic for a different day.
Oh my god, now we gotta put a keyword in YouTube for this video. Bestiality.
No, it would just bleep me out.
But see, like in your video right here in the very beginning of your video, you have a guy backing his horse up to his caravan and pulling away. And I wonder if that's going to be, obviously it's early and everything changes, but like that makes me think that that would be your own mounts that you ride, and you summon your caravan, then you got to get on your mount.
That
hook
would
up
be
your
the
mount to
third
that
type that we
caravan.
mentioned. That's the personal caravan.
Oh, the personal caravans. Okay. Now, why would you have a personal caravan versus a caravan is your personal caravan the one that you transport all your shit with?
Yes.
Yeah.
You initially become the caravan itself. You're driving it. You're steering it. Your buddies are the ones who are defending it pretty much. You're just hightailing it to that end goal.
I
Unless
would
you
assume
want
you'd
to,
play a part in
you,
defense.
you could probably jump out but when you're not driving it, it's standing still.
It's not moving. Yeah.
So if you're controlling your own caravan, does that mean I can go off road?
From what I understand, yes. But you got to
With that
remember,
being said, though,
you got to
you're gonna
remember,
have
it's
to
not.
build that caravan.
But it's not only the players you have to worry about. It's every mob in the game that you get within aggro range are going to come and attack that shit.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's why it's PvX and not PvP.
But see, that could mean you could take the most bizarre freaking route in the world, and if you could eventually, it may be a lot longer, and you're going through a lot of freaking NPCs. But if you got a group of 5 guys with you and everything, killing these NPCs can be a hell of a lot easier than dealing with PvP.
No, I agree. You will have to be careful about how you go, because there will be certain limitations on where the caravan can fit through, what kind of terrain
and
can
certain
go
types
over,
of
et cetera,
obstacles
so.
too, because we've already ciphered from the seasons video that there's other things to take into consideration too.
Dude, imagine being halfway through a dungeon and a fucking caravan comes riding by you.
If it's if it's a way through, that would be interesting.
be
If it's a
awesome.
way through.
So I got some final thoughts here. Just some final notes here. Okay, so caravans create an open PvP zone that flags players for combat, turns them purple. Caravan PvP uses the same type of scoring as shared by the Arena PvP system and Guild Wars PvP. That being the performance, their performance in PvP is measured over the course of the six-month PvP season. At the end of each season, a player's cumulative. Thank you.
Cumulative.
Score may unlock various rewards.
You just answered your own question about the reward system for helping caravans.
Gotcha. Okay. Players will be able to state their intentions to attack, defend, ignore via user interface window. The proximity that the UI window appears is determined by the player's performance as either a defender or an attacker in previous raids. And there's what Ghandex was asking, what this radius would be. Depending on how much of these raids this person has participated in, he might get himself a if he all he wants to do is leave the group and freaking attack this thing, he might give himself a little shorter radius that he has to travel away from the caravan before he can attack it.
All right. We know there's going to be a progression system for this stuff, and that makes me wonder, like, how deep does this progression go, and what kind of skill points are we going to be able to allocate to, like, detect these things from a further range or deal more damage to them or whatever. Like, it's very interesting.
A group will be required to successfully attack a caravan. A caravan will persist in the world for a period of 5 to 10 minutes from the time its owner logs out or gets disconnected from the server. So Ghandex gets freaking disconnected for whatever reason. That caravan stays there, and we can still attack it. From what I guess, I don't
Oof.
think it becomes immune.
No, it won't.
No, but it's kind of good that it stays there, because even if, let's say it's my caravan, but if I have defenders there and I somehow get disconnected, it's not like I have to start over from the get go if I relog in quickly.
Right.
It's obvious why they have this implemented, though. Last thing we want to do is be attacking this freaking caravan. The guy is losing it, and he fucking just
And he
pulls
logs
the damn
out,
plug just to save his caravan. And there are players like that, unfortunately.
But it's
yeah.
also the other way around too. If you're halfway through your route and you get DC'd, you don't want to have to start over from point A.
Right.
So.
And you might be uncontested, having a nice smooth ride, and then you just DC, and you're like, oh,
yeah, for
man.
free, for no reason, yeah.
Yep.
Caravans may not be initiated from warehouses during a siege declaration on that node. That's interesting. Okay. As a
And
node
from my
advances,
understanding, you can't even physically empty your warehouse when a siege is declared.
so
Like, it
everything
locks
just
them.
gets locked. That's it. Your bank is locked. Your stuff in your home is freaking locked. Everything's
There's
locked.
no cut and run after that. It's either defend your home or just cut ties and walk away. Whatever happens, happens.
See, on the one hand, I like it. And I like it, especially if I'm the attacker. I kind of like it. But if you're the guy, the victim side of that, I'm like, this fucking sucks.
It's gonna be a wrench in the cogwheel for sure. Like it's gonna make people rethink a lot of storage choices and things like that, I think.
As a node advances, so will its roads. As these roads advance, caravans will find them easier to travel on. Seasons and weather can also affect the roads and therefore caravans. Okay, and I do have a hypothetical situation here, which I don't really know if we got an answer for this, but I'm going to assume we kind of know the answer. So, hypothetical situation. If a pirate ship carrying 40 passengers approaches a seafaring caravan, will everyone, once they get close to that caravan, will everyone on the 40-man ship get a prompt asking to attack, defend, or ignore? Or, like a normal caravan? Or would the captain of the 40-man ship be the only one prompted and say, hey, yes, we're attacking it? Or because it kind of makes no sense at all to send that prompt to freaking everybody, if you're following me.
It's an interesting point. I would assume it's going to prompt everybody, but I don't know. Because maybe,
I don't know.
Because if you say
a stowaway, maybe you're a stowaway, you're a bounty hunter, you're a stowaway on that ship, and they don't know you're there. I don't know how they don't know you're there, but let's say that's a scenario. The captain can't say that you're going to attack, because then that's going to just screw your whole plans up.
It'd suck if you got my 40-man ship, though, and then freaking 20 of the people on my ship decide to be defenders while the other 20 do want to be attackers.
Then they're just assholes,
and now we're fighting each other.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, that's a good
We'll
point.
have to see. Well, I'm going to assume it's going to be individual, but we'll have to see.
I would say keep our eye open for an answer to that, because it's just we don't have enough information about the whole seafaring part of it anyway right now. We know that you're going to have to create your ship or whatever at the coast, which makes sense, at a harbor. Right. We know there's going to be a transition period if you're a covered wagon converting into a seafaring caravan.
And are you able to be attacked while you're sitting there waiting for that conversion?
Yes.
Because that would be the hardest point to defend.
I can
would
guarantee
imagine.
that.
But
I assume you're going to do it in a port city.
And your port would already be in a protected city already, right?
Unless you're going to do it out in the middle of BFE and hope no one stumbles across you.
Well, I think you have to do it at a port, don't you?
No, you can turn I'd assume you can turn your caravan into...
Just pull up to any old beach and summon a boat.
No. No.
Let
me try.
Does it clarify?
I believe
Because I know you can summon personal seafaring vessels anywhere you want.
Yeah, but personal can be much smaller, I would imagine.
It depends on the size of the caravan. A caravan can be one covered wagon. It doesn't have to be a chain.
At this time, there will be a construction site with a timer applied to it before it can fully transition to a naval caravan. I'm not seeing anything that specifically says in a port, but
So it might depend on the size of the caravan, where you are restricted. It's also possible that instead of you turning your caravan into a ship, you might be able to stop at a trade city. I don't know how long this would take. Dump your gear, dump your stuff, and then transition it into an actual transport ship, which would be easier to defend, et cetera, and then use that ship to then transport your goods across the sea. But we'll see.
yeah, I'm not seeing anything that specifically says ports, but for some reason in my mind I automatically assume that you would
'Cause it
have to
makes
bring it to a
sense.
port.
It would make sense to go to a port. But I know, because they've said this numerous times, that you can summon, at the very minimum, a personal seafaring vessel anywhere you want.
If that's the case, then I would hope that, okay, if you go to a port, you may have a transition period. But if you go to just a beach and there's no port there, I would hope that transition period would be much longer. Because it's like you're out in the middle of nowhere. Now let's freaking start gathering resources to convert this to the way we need to get it. In a port, you would think that'd be like relatively easy.
I would think that there might be restrictions on the size of the caravan on where you can do it. Because like a larger caravan, you would assume would have to go to a port. But a single carriage, I see no reason why it wouldn't take an hour. An hour in game might be a bit long, but realistically, an hour, you could, if you have wood nearby, you could turn an actual covered wagon into a floating vessel. It wouldn't be great, but it works.
So we got like 10 minutes left here. So overall, do you guys like the caravan system?
I like it. I think it adds depth to the game.
Like I said earlier, I'm a fan of the caravan system. I like the idea of escort quests. I like the idea of being able to attack or defend them, and I like the idea of getting rewarded based off of your successes. The only thing I'm unhappy about, and this might change when I actually realize how much stuff I can carry myself, but I'm unhappy with the fact that I have to announce to the world that I'm putting my stuff in harm's way, if I want to move large quantities. If I want to move large quantities, I should just say that.
I like escort quests also. I just don't know how I feel about the whole process of escorting, doing escort quests to escort my own belongings with the risk of losing them. And that's the part that's kind of being iffy for me on whether or not if I like the system or not.
See, that is the thing that resonates more with me, because that falls perfectly into their philosophy of risk versus reward. If you're going to risk moving all your crap at once, that it is what it is. And
so how are you going to feel though? You're going to be an armor smith or whatever, weaponsmith. So you want to craft yourself this particular weapon. You go ahead and try to transfer your goods. Boom, your caravan gets attacked. You lose your shit. The caravan got destroyed. You're back to square one. You try again. It happens again. It happens 3 times. It happens 4 times in a row. How's Ghandex going to feel about it then?
I'm going to tell you how I'm going to feel about it. Is that I'm going to barter or broker someone to bring me goods. If the goods don't arrive, I don't pay for them. That's on them.
Well, I'm
not transferring shit.
I like the idea that Intrepid is creating a way for people to just not sit on goods. Like, you pull up some of these guys in World of Warcraft who've been playing this for 15 years, and you look at their banks and their bank alts, they've got jillions of gold, man, and it's just like they sit on this stuff. And Intrepid is creating reasons to not sit on stuff. Like Ghandex, you're right. You're going to broker people to bring you materials so you can craft stuff and create your business. Well, there's more than one way to risk losing your stuff in this game. And that's what I mean about like my issue with the caravan system is telling the whole world that, hey, I'm transporting my stuff. You might want to try to take it or you might not. There's already so many ways to lose your stuff that it sucks having another equation, another number in that equation where you can potentially lose everything. You could lose everything while you're out gathering. You could lose it because your siege gets ransacked. You can lose it because of caravans. It's just like, it seems to me that every single way that they tell you to, it's just another reason why this game is so much more PvP heavy than I think people realize.
No, and I agree with you that it is PvP heavy, but I think that risk of losing something is actually what's going to bring life to this game.
Oh, I hope, yeah.
But not,
I agree.
Not if you're a person who absolutely hates PvP. And if you're that guy and you're coming into a game like this that's trying to advertise itself as being a PvX where we're PvE, we're PvP, you can play the way you want. To me, that's kind of a little bit of a white lie there that you can play any way you want. You're going to be forced into PvP in this game.
I feel like a lot of people, and I feel like we have the same. I have to explain this every time we have a video, but PvX doesn't mean you get to play whatever way you want to play. It means that every element of this game is going to involve both PvP and PvE. Nothing
aside from the very teeny tiny percentage
very
of
specific
instance PvE combats. Yeah. Everything else is, and obviously instance PvP battlegrounds, but everything else is mixed in.
Be a hybrid. Yeah, it's all going to be.
You might be doing some PvP, and then a world boss spawns right on your ass, or you might be killing a world boss, and another group decides they don't want you to kill that world boss. You never know. I mean, I accept it, and I'm prepared for it. I just want, I see a lot of hype. Like I said before, I see a lot of hype with people just talking about Ashes of Creation and how awesome every single little aspect of Ashes of Creation is going to be. And I'm like, it's statistically impossible that everybody agrees with everything they're doing. And I want,
but
and that's what
every time we do one of these shows, we talk about a new thing, and I ask you guys what's your feelings about this, and you guys like what you're hearing, you like what you're seeing.
I do.
So basically, you're saying it's statistically impossible to like everything, but we are. Everything we're reading on paper, we're liking.
Roar has said that he overall he likes Caravan System. There's just one aspect about it he doesn't like, and that's fine. I'm sure there's gonna be stuff I would like, and there might be stuff I don't even participate in because that's an option. You don't have to do everything, but it's there if you want to. And Steven has said numerous times, time and time again, they can't please everybody. And that's not their goal. Their goal isn't to please everybody.
Correct.
Because when you do that, you end up like WoW. And, well...
No, when you try to please everybody, you fail.
Rewards, yeah.
No, there's quite a few things I disagree with Ashes of Creation. But I feel like the good outweighs the bad right now. You know what I mean? So like you're right. The faction system. I mean, I don't really give a shit that there isn't a faction system, but I think a faction system would make it better because
it would make it helps.
I agree with that too.
It helps easier to recognize who your enemies were.
Exactly. Like I've given the example 100 times. You run up over a hill in World of Warcraft. You see the Alliance fighting the Horde. You know that you can just jump in with those Horde, and if you're successful, it's a celebration. In Ashes of Creation, you run over a hill, you see two groups of people fighting each other that you have no affiliation with. You decide to ally with the group on the left, and you attack the guys on the right, and you're successful. Well, the group on the left that you just decided to ally, they don't know who the hell you are. Now they're going to kill you too, just because of PvP. No factions.
Oh, hell, if they're one big clusterfuck bunch, and you do a big giant AoE storm on them, you're hitting both freaking teams. So I mean,
you just wanted to engage in PvP because PvP is fun, but you chose to ally with the wrong side. You chose to help the wrong side.
There might not have been a right side. The other side
right.
might
You're
be the same
absolutely
shit,
right.
So.
But if you wanted to PvP and either go down with the ship or win and have a celebration, factions would allow that. You either died together or you won together and you moved on with your life. And you're right. There might not be any wrong side of the ship. But now it's like world PvP is super fun. It always is. But now you have that third, like, it's just like, oh, two groups of friends are fighting each other. I don't have any friends, so I'm just going to go this way. And then you get to go be sad by yourself. Because you're right. You can either join in that side. You choose the wrong side and they kill you. Choose the right side and maybe they win and they say, hey, thanks for helping us out, buddy. And then you just, you all separate and go your own way. You never know. Just a whole nother aspect of the game. But like some of my funnest world PvP I've ever been involved in has been World of Warcraft, and it's like,
I agree.
I'm hoping that I can have those same tremendously fun experiences in Ashes, but because everybody's an enemy, potentially, it's going to be harder.
Do you think that the system as it is now could potentially end up causing some of that bad guild drama that we've seen in games like World of Warcraft? Because in a game like this, you can accidentally literally kill one of your own guildies, if you're involved in one of those kind of fights.
I honestly, there's infinite possibilities. So if we were in a very serious situation and like the whole flagging system, how you have to like, because you're supposed to have this system where you're protected against getting hit by AoEs, but like, let's say you're both flagged and your guildmate kills you, I'd be fucking pissed, especially in like a difficult time, or like, let's say we just killed a boss, some world boss, and I was carrying one of that world boss's extremely rare resources, and my guildmate kills me, when I could have maybe survived.
Yeah, because how do you combat something? I mean, it's one thing to get ganked by freaking some nobody that you don't know in the land. It's like, oh, some jerk just freaking ganked me. But a freaking guildie freaking ganks you? Well, you just get on freaking Discord and start screaming at each other. Why the fuck did you just kill me?
Trolls exist, man.
I'm gonna bring that back to first-person shooters. And I don't know if modern first-person shooters have this, but I know the old school ones did. In X, you play first-person shooters. There's friendly fire. You can accidentally kill your own teammates if you're not paying attention. And I don't know if the new Call of Duties or Battlefields or anything.
They do if you're in hardcore mode.
That's sad that you have to opt into it. Like back in the day, it was just on all the time.
Have you guys ever played Escape from Tarkov?
I did not play Tarkov. I'm familiar with that, but I haven't played it.
I have played a lot of Tarkov, and I have a guy in my chat right now who has killed me quite a bit, and I've killed him. And in Tarkov, when you die, you lose everything. So I know all about getting killed by accidental friendly fire and losing everything. And it sucks, and sometimes it's funny. But in a game like Tarkov, you escape the game, you re-gear yourself, and you go back in. But in a persistent character driven like progression system game, like I said, if I'm carrying, we just killed some crazy world boss and I have his rare crafting material and I get killed by a guildie either on accident or on purpose or whatever, and I lose that item, I don't know how to feel about that, honestly. That would suck.
But
it happens.
Hopefully one of your guildies picked up the item for you.
Hopefully,
but we'll see.
But you know what? It's not just picking up the item, because it's not exactly working that way. When you die, you lose a percentage of your gathered goods, but the percentage that you lose isn't 100% lootable by the enemy. Half of what you dropped gets destroyed. It fizzles away, and the other half is lootable. So if my rare resource fizzles away because I died and no one can loot it, that would be even worse.
I don't know if half of it fizzles away, because when you res, you still should get something. You don't lose.
You get some back. You don't lose everything because you only lose a percentage. So you still keep a percentage, but half of what you drop it fizzles.
Okay.
They've said it on multiple times. So
we'll see what crafting items are, because a crafting item isn't necessarily a gatherable. Crafting item you get off of a world boss or a raid boss. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's all up in the air right now.
I do have a question in chat.
I'm just going off raw materials. That's all they ever say. When you die, you drop a portion of your raw materials. I
But a
don't know what that
crafting item you
means.
gather from a boss doesn't necessarily mean it's a raw material.
How would it
Could-
not be?
Concerning, let's just get off this subject just for a second here. Concerning PvP, have they said anything? Are they allowing controller support at all?
You mean like
No,
Xbox controller?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
no.
So there you go. No controller support in the game. You're going to be using mouse keyboard because it's not coming out to consoles. It's only PC, but no controller support.
Okay.
Okay.
Most MMOs don't work very well with controller support. I'm sure with like Xpatter or other programs, you can kind of make it half-ass work, but they're usually not very fun to play.
I don't know.
That
There's two of the best running MMOs out there right now are Final Fantasy 14 and Elder Scrolls, and they're more console driven than PC.
I don't know. Well, Final Fantasy is better than it was. I had a hard birth, but
I
11 million players.
I don't care what kind of game it is and everything. I do not like the whole let's mix the PC players with the console players. You know, you guys have your own system, but sometimes you have a freaking unfair advantage with that aim assist, especially in shooter games.
Well, shooters is one thing, but MMORPGs, there's no aim assist. I was in a guild on Final Fantasy 14, a rating progression guild, and our main tank was a PlayStation 4 player. And I don't know if you guys have played Final Fantasy 14, but you literally have 85 hotkeys. There are so many buttons in that damn game. And this main tank was one of the best tanks I've ever played with, and he's on a controller, and it's impressive.
well, I mean, to be fair, you can hook up a mouse and keyboard to a Xbox or a PlayStation.
He's literally on controller. That's what I'm telling you. He wasn't on mouse or keyboard.
Did you see him?
Yeah, he's a
Do you have
streamer, man.
proof?
Who's not a streamer today?
No. Anyway, going back to Caravans, the one thing I had
Actually, make this like
question.
closing thoughts because we're at our time limit now. So
is
Fuck it. We're going all night.
I don't got time for that shit. But can you make roadblocks if you know a caravan is coming? Can you set up an ambush? Can you knock a tree down in the road?
Oh, man, this has been asked before, and I
Stuff like
can't
that.
remember what they said.
Well, I know I brought it up before.
Yeah,
the only thing
somebody
I've known
somebody asked
that-
during a live stream.
the only thing I've read is that weather storms may knock down a tree into the road that the players would have to take care of in order to proceed with the caravan. But as far as a player actually being the person that brings it down, I have not seen anything saying that. It would be great. It'd be great if we could actually put traps in the road, dig a ditch in the middle of the road, and cover it with leaves.
That's what they said because when you chop down a tree, the tree falls over and it stays there for a period of time as a fallen tree. And people were asking on one of the live streams, if we cut down a tree and it lands on the road, will it block a caravan? And I cannot remember what they said. I think it was also somewhere along the lines of, it's an interesting idea, but we have nothing on that yet.
And that might be the case.
Which
My
would be pretty
question is,
cool.
if you chop down a tree and it falls, is it going to fall in a realistic method? Or is it just going to fall in a random pattern? I'm wondering how that's going to work.
Did you watch their live stream probably 3 months ago? Probably 3 live streams back. It was their crafting or their gathering episode.
I don't remember. I've watched so many videos.
So
was towards
Steven
the
chops down a
beginning.
tree.
Yeah.
It's like at the very beginning. It's like a little 15-minute crafting thing. And Steven chops down a tree, and as the tree's falling, he says, "Back up, make sure it doesn't land on you so you don't die." And I was like, "Whoa."
That's cool that there's actual physics. I wonder if that's going to interact with other trees in the area.
Well, they
Just if it's gonna
giggled
hit
about
those
it.
and bounce off of it.
They giggled about it, and I didn't know if they was like joking. Like,
Oh my god,
or
you
if
just
was
said that.
real.
It didn't sink in with me. So it's like, oh, we can actually be killed by the freaking tree. That's
Imagine killing somebody. Like, do you
An
know
There's
accident.
collision. There's player collision and NPC collision. So if there's like elemental or
Like,
not elemental.
do I get
environmental
corruption if
collision.
I fell a tree and it falls over and kills some player?
No, you didn't kill him. The tree killed him. So,
But can I loot his stuff now?
yes, I would
That would be-
I would assume so.
Oh shit, Ghandex, I'm sorry, man. That was my bad, bro. Well, here, let me get your stuff.
So I know we're out of time, but I want to mention something that Steven was talking about today in that live stream with the Ashes Pathfinders.
Sure.
That I thought was really, really cool, which has nothing to do with any of this. But somebody asked, is there going to be a guild calendar in game so they can schedule events and stuff to do with your guild? And he goes, yes. And there's also going to be a companion app. So when you schedule events in game, if your guild has the companion app, you can ping people who have the apps on their phone to say, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. He also said it would also work if a siege or a caravan system or a group PvP or a raid boss spawns. You can ping everybody at that exact time and say, if you guys are available, get on now. Kind of like Discord, but not everybody has Discord's notifications on, or people are in so many.
Mm-hmm.
You all have phones, right? Yeah. And people have so many, they're in so many Discord channels that they get hundreds of notifications. They don't even pay attention to them anymore.
Oh, yeah, I have all mine turned off. Yeah.
And I'm like, how cool would that be? Like, to have a companion app with this massive MMORPG where people could, they just hired a whole new group of people to put this together.
Back in the old school freaking while back in the day, when we wanted to do a raid, we also had we had our forums.
We had forums.
So
it was always
you have to
forums.
go to the guild freaking forums. You would have to sign up for the raid that you want to be in and all that crap. And it got easier over the years when WoW started to introduce some of these mods, that the third party guys made. They made little freaking things that, benefited, guildies a little bit more. So I forget which interview I saw of Steven a while back, but he did say since there are going to be no mods allowed in this game, he is going to put as much as he possibly can to make guild leaders' lives much freaking easier, to have sign-ups for things, a guild calendar, to make announcements freaking easier to the guild and everything. Stuff we wish we had in other MMOs, because, again, he ran a freaking guild, in a big guild, from my understanding, Lineage, which is, since it was a big guild, I still can't understand this whole thing with guilds being only 50 people big, or
it's a give and take system. So
right,
we're gonna have to wait and see that skill tree, honestly.
Yeah, I knew the guild calendar was most likely going to be a thing. The companion app, though, I like that idea.
Dude, I am all on board for that. Imagine, dude, you're just like walking through, and then boom, world boss falls right in front of you. You just jump on your phone, ping your guild, guys. World boss is here. Let's go, and whoever's available can just log in or just run over. That's a really cool feature. I'm really all about that. It's bringing the modernism into the MMORPG genre.
Or you're just out freaking farting around, you're driving somewhere and you get that little freaking alert that, hey, your raid is in a couple hours. Oh my God, I totally freaking forgot about that tonight. It's going to be nice to have all these systems that kind of, I see this causing a lot more freaking divorces, more than freaking WoW ever had. But
I do see it taking a little bit of the immersion aspect out of the game. But I guess that's, each individual person, how they view it. So,
your wife gonna play? Ghandex,
who, me?
Ghandex, no, your wife gonna play?
She doesn't play video games. She yelled at me for playing video games. So.
What do you mean she?
Oh.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yours is the one that yours is in there playing Call of Duty. Is she gonna play this game?
My girlfriend likes to think she's gonna play everything. She's a big WoW player. She's a big modern WoW player. I got her into WoW at the beginning of Legion. She was hooked, loves it. Probably more hours than I do in the last couple years. They announced WoW Classic. She's like, this is going to be great. Super stoked. She logged into WoW Classic, made her little level 1, what'd she make, a mage or some shit? Died to a boar, uninstalled.
Yep.
Couldn't even kill the boar. So she likes to pretend. God. She likes to pretend she watches my videos and she's super stoked for it. But I'm like, the second she gets killed in PvP in the open world for no reason at all, she's gonna quit. I promise you right now.
When she's playing Call of Duty,
Well, I mean, that Call of Duty's no risk, no reward. You spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die. This is a little different.
That's boring.
You know, if she's out picking flowers and she gets killed and loses half her flowers, she's gonna be pretty pissed off. She's what we refer to as a filthy casual.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up there. Guys, if you're watching, whether or not you're on freaking one of our Twitch streams right now, or Trovo, or YouTube, or wherever you're watching us, throw us a like, throw us a follow. Do either of you have anything else that you had to freaking promote that you may have forgotten earlier? Or are we good, or what?
No, good here.
All right, guys. So next Sunday, we will do our next show. We do it every Sunday starting at 9 o'clock, usually an hour and a half long. I do want to put out at least a promise to you guys. Like I said, last week we canceled. We didn't have a show. That was on me. That was my doing. But the three of us, if you're not following us on our Twitter right now, please make an effort to at least follow one of us on our Twitter, because I want the three of us to really start. If we get to a point where a show gets canceled for whatever reason, I want us to make the best effort to make an announcement on Twitter. Hey, show canceled tonight. Sorry, guys. Because, last week we canceled and there was no notice that went out to anybody. And that's really not fair to the people who do want to see the show and who do show up in time when we don't. So we'll make a conscious effort to actually get better at that. Go ahead.
Ghandex.
Yes.
Chat wants to know if you have a Munchkin cat.
Nah, it's not a Munchkin cat, but she is still a kitten. She's 9 months old, so
just the baby boys. Yeah. So, does the burning discussion have its own Twitter channel?
No, it does not, and
that
probably
might
just keep
be
it
a
that
good
way.
idea.
Well, we could. I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's up to you. We can talk about it later.
So anybody in my chat watching, go follow these guys on Twitch and YouTube. Same names, Extermicide, Ghandex. We're all pushing for the same thing. So we're all covering different topics on our YouTube videos. So you're never going to be out of the loop. We're going to be doing this podcast every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time, correct? I'm still screwed up with the time zone. So every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, follow us for up-to-date stuff. We're all putting out YouTube videos. We're all going live on Twitch. So thank you, everybody, for watching.
And we're all big boys too. If you have anything that you want to say to any of us about what we can do to improve, we have thick skins. We're big boys. We're grown-ups. We can take it.
We're open to criticism.
So, let us know, because we're always trying to improve. And I believe watching our shows, this was show number 7, I believe. If you go through and watch our shows, I believe they've gotten better with every show. I definitely believe that. And Ghandex has been here from the very, very beginning.
Day one.
Yeah. You say that like you're an old man now. Oh my God, day one.
I am an old man. I got kid number 2 on the way, so.
Oh, I didn't know that. Congrats.
Well, yeah, it's new info, so.
Merry Christmas.
I know, right? Well, June, July.
Look, man, Ashes has live streams talk about upcoming features. Ghandex has live streams talk about upcoming new additions to the family, man.
Yep.
We're all doing it.
You have to send Steven a picture right away. The first Ash's baby.
Ash's baby.
Hey, you might get some kind of freaking plus from him for it. You'll probably start a scholarship for your kid. All right, guys. Thank you for popping by, and we will catch you next week.